Looking at this list though, Jason, and continuing my laughter here. There's a movie, one of my favorite sports movies, real quick, Above the Rim, with Tupac Shakur, Dwayne Martin, and Marlon Wayans. Anyway, Marlon Wayans plays his character Bugalo in the movie Bugalo, and he's talking with Birdie, which is Tupac's character, about how he's gonna play college ball, and Tupac loses his mind. Birdie's like, "You can't barely read. Like, is this a joke? Someone please tell me, is this a joke?" That's what I was doing, Jason, while you were asking your question before I came on. Is Mike Tomlin a top 20 coach? Seriously, is this a joke question? Top 20 current NFL head coach? Absolutely. Top 20 historical head coach? Come on. I see some admissions in Hadley's list, which I'm not even going to push back, but guys that I think do have a case to be above Mike Tomlin, the coach today. First of all, you mentioned John Harbaugh. I mean, this guy's right there nipping on Mike Tomlin's heels for regular season wins. Tomlin has 193 regular season wins, which is 10th all time. Tip of the cap to Tomlin for that. But Marty Schottenheimer has 200 career wins. He's 8th all time. He's not even in the Hall of Fame because he has a 5-13 playoff record. Tomlin has an 8-12 playoff record. Sure. Tomlin got the Super Bowl. Schottenheimer never did. But Sean Payton has 183 playoff or regular season wins, only 10 behind Mike Tomlin. He's 9-9 in the postseason. He has the Super Bowl. Harbaugh's 13-11 in the postseason. He has the Super Bowl right there with 180 some playoff wins. So these guys are within like 10, 11 regular season wins. I'm sorry, I keep saying playoff. Regular season wins, they're within 10 or 11 are Sean Payton and John Harbaugh. And they're both substantially more successful in the postseason. Both of them are at least 500 or better in the postseason, unlike Mike Tomlin. Both have Super Bowl wins. Let me also go and throw these two young guys in the mix here. We've got Kyle Shanahan, who doesn't have a Super Bowl yet. He's 46 years old. He's coached in two, though. You could say they kind of choked at the end of both of those Super Bowls. They lost both to Kansas City. He had Garoppolo as his quarterback in one of those Super Bowls, and then Brock Purdy, very young Brock Purdy in the other one. So he's been within one score of the Chiefs. Actually, he was up against the Chiefs in the fourth quarter, leading in the fourth quarter in two Super Bowls against the Kansas City Chiefs. He's 9-4 in the postseason. He's only 46. He's going to get at least one Super Bowl by the time it's all said and done. And he's going to have an extraordinarily more accomplished playoff resume than Mike Tomlin. And then let me throw this guy on your radar as well. Sean McVay has 9 playoff wins. Mike Tomlin has 8. McVay is 9-5. Tomlin is 8-12. McVay is 39 years old. He's not even 40. And the Rams have a really good look at winning the Super Bowl this season. McVay also Coach of the Year award winner, which Tomlin doesn't have. Those guys are substantially better than Mike Tomlin. So I just presented 4 guys that weren't on Hadley's top 20 list that are contemporaries of Mike Tomlin that I would undeniably put above Tomlin. Is he a top 20 coach? Hell no.
Okay, I don't really have a great response to that because I really don't, because it does come down to, hey, he's won a Super Bowl. That's his trump card. His other trump card is, hey, I never had a losing season. But you make the appropriate arguments like, hey, look, losing season or not, it's really all-time wins that we really should judge people on. And there's some guys that are going to surpass him, probably Sean Payton very soon. John Harbaugh perhaps will surpass, because it sounds like Tomlin's going to sit out a year or two. Is he better than Sean Payton? That's up for debate. Is he better than John Harbaugh? That may be up for debate. Seemed like there was one other name that he threw out there that I'm not thinking of, but again, and so if in the last 20 years, if you're not one of the 5 best coaches of the last 20 years, are you an all-time great?
I would definitely say he's one of the top 5 best coaches of the last 20 years. And when we're saying an all-time great coach,
John Gruden, Tony Dungy.
But I'm saying, is there a limit to the amount of guys that can be in this room? I mean,
Yeah, all-time great. Yeah, yes, I do think there's
you
a
can,
limit.
you can
If
make
everybody's in, no one's great.
Now, I'm not saying Ben Roethlisberger, wasn't a really good quarterback, but I mean, all Andy Reid's championships are attached to Mahomes. All Belichick's championships are attached to Brady. I mean, so the guys that you named that do have multiple chips, they also do have what we consider one of the top 2-3 quarterbacks in the last 20 years as well.
Okay, hold on. Let's remove the multiple.
So
The multiple guys
Peyton only
with
has
Super
one,
Bowl,
right?
huh?
Peyton has one championship with Drew Brees,
Yes.
right? Tomlin has one with Big Ben Roethlisberger.
But hold for a second though. Let's zero in on Sean Payton. If you had to one season, and you had to pick, man, I got one season. Who am I going to go with? Mike Tomlin or Sean Payton?
Me, Mike Tomlin.
Let me give you another. John Gruden or Mike Tomlin?
Mike Tomlin. There's a sustainability with what Mike did in Pittsburgh.
No, we're talking about 1 year.
No, I'm saying
You talking about sustainability. I'm talking about 1 year.
I played under John Gruden. I love John Gruden, even though we didn't always get along. I admire the things that he's good at, but I think Tomlin's better at more things. I was there on the Bill Walsh internship with Pittsburgh. I got to see it firsthand. This is when they still had Antonio and Le'Veon and what's the big linebacker that could lift the whole weight room? Like this when all those characters were still there.
James Harrison.
Yeah, all those guys were still there. And I got to see Mike Tomlin day in and day out do his thing as a head coach. And I'm just telling you, I was in awe of it, Jason. And I've been around some great head coaches. I played for Tony Dungy, played for John Gruden. Like I've been around. I was in Indy with Jim Caldwell. Like I've been around some great head coaches. To me, Tomlin, he one of the best of them.
So I'm gonna circle back to that, but you brought up Tony Dungy or Mike Tomlin one season.
Mike.
And what does he do? I'm not doubting you. You got firsthand experience, but what does he do so great? There's not a side of the football where, like, man, they play this defense or they play this offense. Or what does he do?
His ability to communicate the proper narrative, to hold guys accountable without alienating the person that's being held accountable, I think is the best I've ever seen. To keep the team focused in the right direction and reaching the ultimate goal. He's the best I've ever seen. They've come up short, but I don't feel like during this stretch, they really have been favored a whole lot of times in these playoff games. Like they've been working with the Mitchell Trubisky's and Landry Jones and Kenny Pickett's and Russell Wilson at an advanced age, of the world. Even
Ben, he had Ben Roethlisberger for 15
and,
years.
And he got the 2 Super Bowls and won one with him. So I think it is what it is. People got their opinions. Mine is based on actual personal experience. I've been coached and been in the offices as a player and coach with a lot of these guys. Never Bill Belichick. That's probably the only one of those guys I haven't been around. But I'm telling you, Mike Tomlin's elite.
And I'm not dismissing. I'm actually like, you're opening my eyes. And so are you saying that at the podium in front of the players, he's the best you've seen? Is that when you talk about a narrative and holding guys accountable?
Yeah, well, we're in a team meeting and it's chaotic everywhere else in the world. He's the best I've ever seen at keeping that room focused on what we talked about were our real objectives, where we are in the process of meeting them, where are we deficient, where are we excelling, what do we have to do next to get a step closer to where we ultimately want to be. I never seen anybody better.
That is a strength. Do you think and I'm not in any way dismissing what you're saying, you're making great points, but is that more valuable than being able to go into an offensive room and draw up plays that are going to make a difference, go into a defensive room, draw up a scheme that's going to make a difference on game day? is do you put those two abilities on the same level?
See, when you say that, I think more you're talking about my coordinators. That's the job of the coordinators. Now, the problem that every defensive head coach has is because you don't directly impact that side of the ball from an excellent zone standpoint, you're at the mercy of others. And when you don't have elite quarterback play, which they haven't had for quite some time, Roethlisberger had a stretch where he was elite, but outside of that stretch, they haven't gone into the playoffs with the best quarterback in Pittsburgh. All defensive coaches have that same problem. Look at Belichick without Brady. We say Belichick's an all-time great coach. I 100% believe it. He has not touched a chip without Tom Brady as the quarterback.
Hey, hold on, Sean. He went, let's say him and Brady were together for 20 years.
Okay.
He went 8, maybe 9 years with Brady,
Right.
not having the best quarterback in the National Football League. Brady eventually became that guy, but them early Super Bowls was because of what Belichick and that defense were doing. Everybody knows that.
Maybe we underappreciated who Tom was because he was a 6th-round pick. He wasn't a 1st-round pick.
Just by numbers and just by what transpired on the field. When they beat the Rams and the greatest show on turf, that was the defense, Sean.
I'm not taking anything away from Bill Belichick. What I'm saying is that the context around my opinion, is when we look at anybody that has multiple chips, it's generally attached to a first ballot, all-time great quarterback.
Agree.
And then when Brady goes to Tampa and wins one, and, we don't even know if Bill is an elite head coach anymore at this point. I mean, that kind of makes my argument or substantiates my opinion, at a really high level. Shout out to Akeem Talib. Hey, man, Akeem, stop letting the researcher give you them stats, man. Don't be saying nothing you don't really believe.
I actually think he believes it. It's some of his best work as a broadcaster.